am back. I know it's been a while since my last video, and I'm sorry for that, but I'm back. And for today's video, I'm going to do how to do a bouncy blowout on natural hair without heat damage, okay? So I just finished co-washing it. To co-wash it, I use Carol's Daughter Hair Milk Cleansing Conditioner. And I use cold water because, as you can see, my hair is red now, and it's actually, it looks darker than it actually is in person right now on the camera, but you can look at my Instagram and you'll see how bright it is. It's actually pretty bright. So I'm just gonna run through the products that I'm gonna use before I get started, but I'm not gonna go into that detail once I start. So I'm using these two guys as my leave-in conditioner and heat protector and smoother. And as for my tools, I know a lot of natural girls, they love to use powder brushes to blow dry their hair, or that little comb attachment for the blow dryer. I don't use those because we are going to talk about doing a bouncy blowout and round brushes. Round brushes, round brushes, round brushes. If you want to get smoothness, if you want to get that curl and that bounce, you want to use a round brush. You can use either a boar bristle round brush, or you can use a classic Metabar round brush. I like to use this on my hair because it gives me better tension and it gets that curling. It just makes it a lot more voluminous and bouncy than this one. This one more so smoothest. But either one is fine. And yeah, and I'm gonna get started. Oh yeah, and I'm gonna use a lot of these clips because I'm gonna be pin curling as I go because I want to really lock that curl in. So you guys will see what I'm doing. Yeah, so let's get started. Okay, so real quick, I realized after I started the video that I was not recording that first part. So I'm just gonna pick back up where I left off and just keep the ball rolling. Okay, so what you missed in the beginning was me sectioning the hair mostly, and you want to section the hair into 4 parts. I do 1 big section in the back and 3 in the front. And when you're drying each subsection, you want to apply tension so you can get that hair as smooth as possible. Also, do not overheat the hair. I know a lot of girls where they'll kind of keep going over a section, going over a section, go over a section. Once that hair is dry, once you've smoothed out that root, you can move on. And also, do not drop the brush from the section the way that I'm doing there until you have dried everything. That just makes sure that you get as much bounce and volume and curl as possible. You want to work in smaller subsections and break your sections down into smaller subsections. That way it's just easier to work through. And when you work with too big of a section, it makes it so everything outside of the section is dry. But when you get inside that section, it's still really curly, really kinky, and it's not that smooth. You want to get as smooth as possible so you don't have to flat iron again. And if you want a lot of volume, you want to over direct the section like I'm doing here. You want to just bring that hair forward. And pin curl it. You want to avoid having to go back in with a flat iron. So what you want to do is definitely smooth out that root, get it as smooth as possible. You want to put as little heat on the hair as possible. Hey y'all. When you get to the front, you want to work in even smaller subsections than you do in the back. Because, of course, this is the front of your hair. It's the part that you're going to touch and feel and everyone's going to see. So you want to work in small sections. I like to break each section on my sides down in 2. And my top section, you'll see when I get there, I like to break that down in 3. I just want to get it as smooth as I possibly can. Because I'm not a fan of putting a lot of heat back to back on the hair. And just pin that sucker. See how smooth that is? Hit that hairline, get those edges, lay them out. that's the biggest problem that I find a lot of people have. They can get everything else smooth, but that hairline is always a mess. You want to just make sure that hairline is wet. If that hairline is dry by the time you get to the front, just take a spray bottle and wet it back down. You want to work when that section is wet, because once it's dry, it's pretty much gonna, oop, my back fell down. We'll be all right. When working, you want to try to avoid kind of snagging the section that you just finished while you're working on a new section. So just try to control your sections. That way, as you're going, you're not kind of like, the section you just pinned away and curled is coming undone. The top is the most important part. This is the part that's going to give you that big swoop, that grand finale, that finish that you want. So if you want that volume, if you want that swoop in the front, if you want all of that, when you really, really want to be very careful with the top, and you really want to take your time with it. If you notice, I'm over directing at the top just because I personally like a lot of volume and bounce in my hair. But if you don't like a lot of volume and bounce, you can kind of blow it straight up as opposed to coming kind of like away from your head. There's a better angle of that over direction. You can see how much I'm pulling it away from the head. And this last piece in the front, this is actually a piece that's going to give you that big swoop. So if that's what you really want to work that last piece. And another tip, if you don't like a lot of volume, if you don't like too much bounce in the front, you can just, instead of pinning it in its own section, you can add it to the section right behind it and just pin those two together. I've let it sit for a while. I usually like to let it sit. If I don't have anywhere to go, I'll let it sit all day long, these pin curls. But I just like to let it sit for at least a few minutes if I do have somewhere to go. It's been sitting for like 10 minutes now, and I'm gonna start taking out the clip. The longer you let it sit, obviously the bouncier it's gonna be. See how bouncy that is already? Oh, I left the clip in there. There's a lot of bounce up in here. And obviously natural hair, curly hair types, it holds bounce a lot more than like straight hair would. So this is not going to die anytime soon. And if I wanted to, which I'm not going to do right now because I got the root pretty straight, but if I wanted to, or if you want to, you can go in with your flat iron and just hit that root. Just in case you have any, I mean, if you do want it like really smooth, and you can do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm just gonna kind of let it do what it do. This is like so 70s. right now, but that's cool. So that's it, all done. If you have any questions or comments, just comment below. I'm gonna put the link to all the products I used, and I'm gonna also do a step-by-step in the description, and I'm gonna put the links to the products I use in the description. And so yeah, my hair feels great. It's super soft. It feels silky. It doesn't feel dry at all. And so yeah, my hairs are pink though from the color. But thanks for watching, and see you next time. Bye.